Hello. Hello. I'm Luke, and I like to draw stuff. So today I thought I'd draw my life. And damn did I draw a lot. I mean, you can't see it yet, but you'll see it at the end. By the end. I've always been a nerd. A geek or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a Phantasma super nerd, so I'm not going to win many contests. But, I mean, when I was 4, I'd become immersed in Dragon Ball Z to the point where I became disillusioned from reality. And I'd also tried to bring in the Darth Maul lightsaber to school, much to the disarray of my teachers and just confusion from my fellow classmates who did not understand the appeal of Star Wars. My first holiday, 3 of us were sick in 2 days, including me. For some reason, I distinctly remember the fact that I was eating a Twix bar, wearing plimsolls, and the fact my mum told me to go and puke in the flowers, because the flowers don't mind. I don't know. We rented a car, and that was wasted. I lived in a big house up until the age of about 8. It was massive. I mean, we had our own toy room, like stacks of toys. I mean, any house with its own toy room is worth some credibility. We had swings and this big rowboat thing and ladders, and it was a crazy, crazy house. And yeah, I mean, other things that are crazy about childhood is that our entire family lived just lived on the other side of England. Like, we live in the southeast, near London. And they don't live here at all, like northwest. And so it's like a 6-hour drive every time, which is cool because you get to watch movies in the car. It's quite a distinct experience because, I mean, for a start, we used to stay in my granddad's bungalow, and at 7 every morning he'd go to his giant pigeon shed and tend to these pigeons. He'd always have like 3 or 4 dogs at a time just to protect the pigeons, I guess, and probably other things. It was really weird. When I was 7, my mum drew these horses for my sisters, and they would absolutely go crazy. They went crazy for these drawings of horses. And for some reason, I just decided that I wanted to do that. And so that's why I'm still drawing, I guess. I don't really know why I liked it. We moved when I was 8, and that was weird because I couldn't logically digest it at all. I just thought my dad was just this big evil, well, don't really guess Nazi, I didn't know what they were then, but something bad like that. But inevitably I went to a new school, and I read a lot of more books because of that. I made a lot of colourful friends, I suppose, in personality-wise, but only one of them has really stayed over time, and he's become my longest-standing friend. So I guess moving wasn't so bad after all. Especially since after my parents came in and I conquered a lot of weird issues with writing things, I suddenly just started writing. I don't know, I wrote this giant, time machine story, and I read this book called Aragon and suddenly wanted to become an author out of nowhere. Of course, after that, I went to secondary school, which was really weird because they split up the girls and the boys for the first 3 years. And I attempted to redeem this temper I had been renowned for, where people just provoke me and I'd beat them up, and then that would just keep happening, and I didn't really enjoy that at all. And of course, because of that, I got bullied more, because I didn't punch them. But I kept at it, and I had other escapes. For instance, my friend introduced the pink one from earlier. He introduced me to manga and anime, and wow, I loved that. Something about it I loved. I just drew it and kept on drawing it. And people liked it, and so I thought I'd be an artist. When I was about 13, going on to 14, in year 9, I discovered depression. Well, teenage depression is not really the thing that big. It mainly revolved around loneliness, but nevertheless it existed and it affected me. I had really weird ways of dealing with it, but eventually I found some sort of method. It gives you a lot of time to think, actually, because you just spend lots of hours just lying around and staring at the ceiling. I thought I invented existentialism at one point, but it's weirdly comforting to have that. I don't know why. When I went to year 10 and our subjects narrowed down for the first time, we got mixed up. And of course, by then, all our hormones were raging, and a lot of people hadn't really talked to girls in ages. Me definitely included. And so I remember just being scared the summer before, just terrified. I did a lot of stuff in that time. I did Duke of Edinburgh Bronze and Silver Awards, which is basically involves a lot of volunteering and a lot of walking up big hills and mountains and stuff. I started a lot of projects and subsequently failed them all. All my art things, my personal projects, I worked on them for months and I just... Boo! I also started writing music, which was another kind of this alternate music outlet, and I kind of discovered that I liked creating pretty much anything. I just... anything that requires imagination, I just really like to get into it. It's a funny thing. I started my A-levels a few months ago, so I should be turning 17 soon, or so I hear. And for some reason, as soon as I started them, I just became isolated from everyone else. I think a few friends left, but a few friends were just... I mean, I'm still sociable. I mean, I talk to people in class all the time, but just nothing outside. And that's actually a lot of time. But I guess it brings me to now, which... it's not so bad. I get a lot of time to myself and to figure things out and to work on things like this really weird video. What am I talking about? Honestly, is this even a life? I just talking about random emotional responses to things, but that's all life is, I guess. It's just a personal response to experiences. And I'm working on several projects. I've just found out how much work you have to do at A-level. Seriously. A lot of work. But luckily, I learned to pull all-nighters in my art exam of year 11. So I'm just gearing up for the future. University is actually oddly feels really close. And that's both exciting and, well, I don't know where I'm going to go to university. That's one thing. Scary? Maybe. This has gone on a while. Bye.